An update on the LSU Coaching Search, or how the coaching search will go. We'll take you through the process of what we've learned, a little bit behind the scenes of how this will likely play out in some of the different options. Want to thank you all for those of you that have subscribed. Hit that subscribe button. Folks, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. If you want to hear the latest information, whether it's coaching searches, anything on college football, NFL, answer your questions, we're here for you. The way to help us grow, hit that subscribe button. Again, it's free. Appreciate you joining us. And, like and share, too, as well, so we can get as many people in as we can to support the group. So, now that Brian Kelly is gone, and now that an interim coach has been put in place, and we've got the rest of the season left, then those are really important for the kids that are still involved there. Most people are focused on what now. We have discussed in previous episodes that there's going to be a new president. We think really soon. We think as early as, we're doing this on Wednesday, as early as Wednesday, the committee, the search committee for the new president, is going to go ahead and put in Wade Ross as the guy, in the McNeese State president. It is someone that the governor wants, and remember, the Board of Supervisors have to approve it. The Board of Supervisors are put in place by the governor. So we suspect that that will take place. If it's accepted, it should be approved in the next board meeting, which is scheduled for November 4th. Could be a special one brought to up sooner. But that's what we're looking at. Now, the start date could be January 1st, but there's still, I believe, and I understand, and it's my understanding that the president will have at least authority to make some decisions from November 4th to January 1st, once it's approved that he is going to be the new president by the board. So how does this affect the whole football part? That's obviously where we're going. We know that in the process where Scott Woodward met with Brian Kelly with the idea that let's make some decisions, this was Sunday, let's make some decisions on the staff that can save this, only to be told, as the governor and the board members, number of board members, and a few key boosters were meeting without Scott Woodward, basically saying, as Scott got back with them, said, no, hold on making any changes, because we've got some bigger changes that we are contemplating. Of course, that was made. The word was given to Scott that this is the direction we're going, and we need you to deliver the message. I believe that had something to do with the quote-unquote tense nature of the meeting between Scott Woodward and Brian Kelly. Look, no one was in the meeting but the two. And if you listen to conversations that have come out between the two sides, you're going to have different versions of, well, what created it? Look, whether you like them or not, when a coach is fired, having been there, a coach, his natural nature is kind of fight a little bit or fight back and maybe take an attitude. I thought we were in this together, and this is above Scott. This decision is made above Scott, and I do think that Scott wanted changes, and I do think without those changes, he too was inclined to move on from Brian. That's kind of where we were. And so where do we go now? I can tell you with high certainty that Scott Woodward will not make this call. They may couch it that way. They may say it that way. I don't know how this is going to come about. There's a couple of things that could happen. Scott Woodward could be out soon and not even be a part of, be the LSU athletic director. Or, as I mentioned before, if they choose to not buy him out, which it costs about $6 million to buy his deal out, they may keep him with the idea that he has good value in terms of raising money. If he's power's taken away from him, how is he going to be in that? I don't know. But he could be anything from fired, or he could be involved in coordinating and doing research and putting things together for the people that will make the decision. Now, who's going to make that decision? And it's not Governor Landry directly saying this is the guy I want. But if you've kind of followed what he has done in a number of things, he will shape the way things are done. He will put some key people in position to vet the candidates and ultimately make a decision. How is Scott going to react to that? What does he have a leg to stand on? Does he want to swallow that big piece of humble pie and just be the good little soldier doing whatever they ask him to do? I don't know. This is all unfolding as we're speaking. But I can tell you that he's not going to be the one making the decision. I know that on good authority. I do think that it's possible he could be around in some capacity and be involved. I also think he could be let go. And I think how those conversations take place is going to determine. Look, I said that Woodward brings value as a fundraiser. And that's going to be needed more than ever. He has lots of political ties, even if it's from the other side of the aisle than the current Louisiana governor, Jeff Landry. But how is he open to that? Is he going to take that and say, this is now my role, and be a part, or is he going to be resistant to the fact that he no longer has the control that he did? Because I will tell you, he had complete carte blanche in the last coaching hire. I mean, it was like nobody, it was him, and that was that. It's not going to be that, I think the other thing to keep in mind, everyone is looking at where they could go with this. I don't think the way I'm sensing things, there's people that say, well, we need to go out and get someone that's proven, that's good. That's what the fans want. Those same fans say, but don't give them a 10-year contract. No. It's one or the other. I do think a 10-year contract is very unlikely since it failed so miserably in this last hire. That's what coaches and agents want. They want the longer-term deal, longer guaranteed money. The whole key to this deal is how the contract is structured. And it's going to determine what pool of candidates they can actually go swimming with. Pure and simple. If they don't do a 10-year contract, if they do a 5-year deal, something, a 5-year rollover, whatever, it's going to have to be a large buyout of some degree. Is that going to be enough? It could be enough to lure some, but probably not all. It's likely going to rule out some of the names that probably a lot of people that's listening here would like. I think creative contracts are going to needed to be in order here. Maybe still paying the going rate, but limiting the length to control the buyout. Look, it's kind of where things are taking place. So who's going to be involved in this? How is this going to be structured? It's very disorganized in that. I mean, I think there's organization, but who's doing it? I think the president, who is going to be the one that's going to be operating and doing what the governor wants, but the governor is not going to be involved in this directly. He's going to be dictating how it's going to be done because he's going to be dictating the guy that's going to do it, the new president. So we'll see how this plays out. And going forward, look, it could rule out somebody like a Lane Kiffin. He's going to want a Brian Kelly deal. Instead of 10 years at $9.5 million, it's going to be upwards of $10 million to $13.5, with Florida also potentially in the mix in the new deal, as well as something similar, at least financially per year wise, with Ole Miss. The length may be a little bit of an issue there as well. Something to look out for. You've heard Lane Kiffin say money's not going to be the deciding factor. I take him at his word because the money's going to be immense either way. It's going to be about the fit. I do think LSU getting their house in order very quickly is pivotal. I will tell you that I don't think people believe this well enough. It's not just where you are, but who you're with. And if they feel uncomfortable with the governor and his people at LSU, they feel uncomfortable with the president and the status of the athletic director, who will be the new athletic director, will it still be the current athletic director, what control will he have, all of that is very cloudy and needs to be, I think, some clarity brought in for it to be as appealing as it should be. Whether it's, I won't throw out names at this point, but whether it's any of the big names. Now, others, the LSU job, take it as is. I don't care what's going on politically. That's going to be a different pool of candidates. We're going to get into that coming up, but that's kind of the way it's going to go. Scott Woodward may not even be around. If he is around, he's going to be marginalized to just doing some legwork, and the final decision is not going to be him. Now, it's very possible they may couch it as Scott is going to handle this and do that, and they may kind of put it on him, but I can tell you behind the scenes, it's not going to have carte blanche. He'll certainly be the one with the words on the press release. He'll be the guy announcing it at the press conference, but I can tell you it's going to have to be run through different channels. Last hire, it was Scott letting his president know, this is who I want, you do it. If you want him, it's good enough for me. That is not going to be the way it is now. And I think people would agree, based upon recent decisions, it shouldn't be that way. But who is and who are the people that are going to be entrusted in the president's eyes, the governor's eyes, who they want to listen to? A lot of people are going to be involved, but can they come together and get the right guy is going to be key. And all of that confusion or solidification is going to determine where they can go with that hire. Appreciate you joining us again. Hit that subscribe button. Check us out at LandryFootball.com. It's free, so subscribe, help us grow. We'll talk to you again next time, everybody, and we'll get into, don't worry about it, some names and what's really going on behind the scenes. When that starts to percolate, it's behind the scenes now, but it's just in the early stages. It's just going into the pot now. It's going to begin to simmer a little bit, and then the heat's going to turn up, and we'll be here to bring it for you. So subscribe, and we'll see you next time.